go live there. This meaning that you all got this notice, right? That it's now being live streamed.
Yes,
I'm
sir.
going to stop the share. Anybody seeing it yet? I'm not.
Mine says live stream offline. Hold on, let me see. Got it open. Yeah, you're on the
Oh,
Zoom.
I see it now. I wonder if I gave you a bad link. Here, I'll put it in the chat one more time. This is the one that it is showing up on. You know, yeah, it's definitely different. Okay, but it is out there.
30-second delay.
Yeah,
Should be around
re-click on
6
the link
seconds
in the
of
chat
API.
now.
Yeah. I now.
Have you been clocking those delays, Jeff, to find out the differences between the API and the RTMP feeds?
I have about 30 seconds on both of them, and I haven't changed like my YouTube latency setting. I think is just on low latency. You can put it on normal, low, or ultra low. I've only kept it on low latency so far, not ultra.
Mhm.
I got a little trick for you. Next time you go live to Facebook yourself through vMix, use the virtual camera on vMix and just go through the live stage as a webcam on Facebook and see how little delay you have there.
My Facebook is great. My Facebook is actually kind of the lowest latency.
You should come in around 6 seconds. You should get close to 6 seconds if you're using the virtual camera directly into the API on the face of, rather than coming in through the live producer. Just go in through the live button on the front page of your profile or your page and
Yeah.
start up. Don't use an event. Just go ahead and broadcast and see if you get a little faster delay.
Yeah, so I go into my YouTube channel and I just click up on the go live, and I don't schedule anything. I just tell it to go live and grab that. So but YouTube has got a longer delay. I'll have to test it out versus Facebook for sure. So I'll give it a shot. But anyways, so you guys all, do you see the stream right now? You see the gallery view, right? It's a 6 up right now. And I haven't done anything. Right? I'm still on my gallery view on my desktop, and that's what it's showing. But what's missing, point out like what's missing. My gallery view in Zoom shows non-video users, and so the stream from Zoom naturally. Don't let anybody tell you you have to turn off non-video users before you stream. You don't. It won't stream them, and so it's not a killer, if you turn them off. But there's no need to have to worry about it or have kind of an oh shit moment that you didn't, and you think it's streaming until you check and you realize they're not there. They don't get streamed by default. So the question was from Marcus, does the order follow? What's the answer to you guys from what you're seeing? Mine doesn't match. Like in Zoom, I see Marty, Kuhn, Kurt, Marcus, Jeff, and then Ward would be my order.
Yeah, you slid some around, didn't you?
What's that?
You slid some people on the panel around a little bit, right?
I did, well, I think the last thing I did was Marty only. So I'm going to right now, I'm going to move me. I'm going to put me up top. I'm going to put Marcus, then Marty, then Coon, then Kurt, and then Ward. That'll be the order. Did
Yeah, I've got,
anything, so the question is
I've,
it's not that we're looking at, of course, it
Well,
won't
it'll take
immediately
20
change.
seconds or so to
Yeah,
see the
yeah,
change.
let's wait the time and see if there's any shift in that. As a matter of fact, I can turn on my speaker. I'm just moving in the stream right now. I'm talking about dragging you around.
yeah, I'm just seeing 6 people in my picture off of the YouTube playback.
Yeah.
Yeah.
Yeah, but the shift, like in the stream, I just talked about doing it and I did it, and there was no change in the stream at all. So locking that on is nothing that will be broadcast from Zoom streaming. Now, so I'm going to release that. I'm going to release the video order. Now we're back to natural order in Zoom, and I'm going to spotlight Marcus. Well, first I'm going to pin you. So I'm gonna on my computer only. I'm pinning Marcus, and I'm gonna listen to myself on the YouTube here real quick to see when I do that. Okay, here I'm talking about pinning Marcus now. Do you happen to see me spotlighted in the YouTube right now? That's that when I released the video order, it went to active speaker mode, right? And my pinning made no difference. Which doesn't shock me, like pin is a local thing, right? And so deriving what gets streamed, the rule is from the host computer, isn't like totally literal in the sense that really what I'm seeing, even if it's a pin. So I'm going to remove the pin of Marcus, and now I'm going to spotlight Marcus. And now it looks the same on my screen, but it's a spotlight instead of a pin. Again, I'm going to listen to myself on this and see when I do it. Feels like I've got about a 15 to 20 second delay on the stream right now, which is not bad. Okay. So now on my YouTube, it's got Marcus spotlighted, and I'm gonna keep talking for a moment and make sure that I don't trump that on the stream, that a spotlight is a lock, if you will. And that should be, in fact, a lock. Now in Zoom, I'm going to go ahead and add, not replace, but add a spotlight of me. So now Marcus and I are side by side in Zoom, and we'll look to see how the stream treats that. I can tell you right now, it won't multi spotlight. Get there in a few seconds. Talk, check. Active speaker has some to do with it. And so now I see me on the stream. Marcus, why don't you go ahead and talk as well?
Yeah, Jeff, I think you just multi-spotted, and I'm seeing you alone on the feed. I should be active speaker right now, so let's see how that pans out.
Okay, it looks like you're about ready to come on.
Okay.
Yeah. You're
I
there.
just came in.
So now let's see if you and I bounce back and forth.
So yeah, this seems to be shifting to the active speaker.
Yeah, definitely not a multi-spotlight. Yeah, and now I came on as an active speaker. So then the question is, right now I've got a dual spotlight going. We know it doesn't display, but it's active speaker. The question is it active speaker just between Marcus and Jeff, or is it a wide open active speaker? And so Marty, why don't you add to the conversation? I'm not going to spotlight you, but add you to the audio conversation as well.
All right, so this would be an interesting experiment. I will see how we can add to this choice because would be very useful to know.
And that moment's just coming up now on YouTube here. Here we go. And there you are. Marty pops up. So even though I'm spotlighted, double spotlighted on two specific people, the moment you spotlight, the result, the behavior is the moment you spotlight more than one individual, you instantly on a stream, you go to an full active speaker mode. So any open mic, any noise, any accidental noise will shift the camera to that camera on the fly, whether you like it or not. So if you
That's
know your
really
stream,
weird. Why do they do that? It's
oh, who knows? I don't know. I haven't been able to figure all that out. But
it must
but
be a
to-
different it must be a different feed that's going out. They're sending out to Zoom. They can't be sending the program feed because we would see the dual pin.
yeah. Yeah,
It's
what's
a
getting
default grid
sent?
of some kind.
What's that, Leland?
It's a default grid of some kind that always gets broadcast, and if it breaks the grid due to bandwidth, it's going to go back and forth from single to single. It won't be able to send all that bandwidth on a 49 grid if it starts breaking bandwidth.
Yeah. So then you go, okay, let's get creative. And because I really want a double spotlight. And so I'm going to go to gallery view and I'm going to remove all spotlights, go to gallery view. I'm going to, just to be really explicit, I'm going to tell my Zoom client to hide non-video participants. So I can see 6 or 7 actually. And I'll wait for YouTube to show. So YouTube's now showing the gallery view. And what I want to do is get explicit. It's like I really want the view of a double spotlight of Jeff and Marty. So I'm going to ask, Ward is not, I don't know if Ward is still there and listening or not, but so let me do a double spotlight with Ward and Jeff. I'm not really going to spotlight. I'm going to resort to probably, my least desirable piece, and that's having my potential speakers in the meetings manage their cameras. And I'm going to ask Marcus, Marty, Kurt, Cone, Kuhn, and Leland to shut off your cameras, mute your cameras, so that it only leaves me and Ward side by side. And so that's a gallery view as I desire it, because I'm having you guys willingly manage your cameras, which is a massive danger zone. Like if somebody comes popping in and, all that jazz, that's a problem. But in the meantime, you can see in YouTube, it's now paring down to what looks like a double spotlight, but it's really not. It's just a gallery where we've explicitly managed all the other cameras off. And then Marcus pops in Zoom. I can see that Marcus just turned it back on, unbeknownst. He may have just shown up in the meeting even, you know what I'm saying? And that will eventually show itself here in the YouTube stream as well. And so, you know, dare, if you will, get creative. Now, if it's for a recording or something that's very manageable, or if you only have 2 people, you know, and they're broadcasting something, and now you can't dual spotlight them, but you could because they're the only 2, then you can shut your camera off as the host, put them both on, put your system into gallery view. Boom, you have a side-by-side spotlight, you know, and because it's small enough and that danger goes away because there's not a whole bunch of people there that, you know, could turn cameras on and so forth. So it's
Yeah,
just,
Jeff,
you know, my whole thing is just know the behaviors, you know.
Yeah, I never understood why they didn't give the host the ability to just mute the camera on all participants, even if it was individual or all at once.
Well, I
So that-
can. So I can
turn 'em
turn.
on.
I just turned Wards off. I can stop video, but I can't restart it. I can only
Yeah,
request it be restarted.
And that's reasonable. It was just a matter of being able to flip through them all at once and turn on those that you wish you could. That would have been
Yeah.
an awesome feature, but there's also the privacy rights that you have to deal with.
Yeah. You know, the only way, you know, around really like full control, if I wanted to literally be the one in control, you'd have to have, you know, Zoom OSC Pro on everybody's computers and be remote controlling them from, you know, my stream deck, if you will. So, but I can mute them. You know, and the other thing is, well, what if I were to say, allow participants, that's under the security shield, allow participants to start video, and I uncheck that. Now I stop Marty's video. Now I've got the 2 up that I want, and now the accident should go away. So now Marty or anybody here, go ahead and try to turn your camera back on.
Yeah, don't work.
And you can't. So now when I want Marty to come back, thing is, can I see him? The answer is not in the, I can tell you right now, not in the participants list. Can I see anything about Marty's camera? But I'm pretty sure that's another one of those kind of silly behaviors.
Hey, Jeff,
If I
on the-
go to, yeah.
on the YouTube, I'm seeing Ward's picture. Please stand by there with you and Marcus. Is that what you're seeing?
I did, but it
Okay.
since went away.
Oh,
I
okay.
think if
Just
you
that
wait a little
delay
bit longer, it should.
forever.
Yeah, that's a pretty significant delay. So I think I just identified something fresh to me. So because I don't allow participants to turn cameras on, I have if I go to Marty and I say I want his camera to come on, I have mute, chat, pin, hide, make host, make co-host, rename. I don't have the ability to even try to turn on or request his camera to be turned on. Now don't turn anything on, but I'm going to enable that ability to start video. And now I, the host, can ask Marty to start his video, and he'll get a request on his screen.
Yeah, I did.
To see that. And so it even takes my ability, like if I kill the ability to turn on your video, it's kind of cool in a sense, but it limits even you, the host, to request it to come back on and until you turn that back on. Now, the exception to that is, so here I'm going to disable the ability to start video again. Was that you that shut your camera off, or me, Marty?
I did.
Yeah, I was going to say it must have been you, because me killing the ability to start video does not kill anybody's video, but it happened to occur at the same time. So now I am going to say, okay, Marty, you are now a co-host, and with that, you can override my limitation on everybody else. So nobody can start their video except host and co-host. And so if you dare to make somebody a co-host, you could do that kind of speaker by speaker by speaker, right? And
Yeah, and as a
manage it that way.
co-host, I have the ability to turn your camera off.
Correct.
So what's interesting is that for participants who are non-co-hosts, you can restrict them from being able to turn their camera on, but you can't unrestrict them on a person by person basis. It's everybody
Correct.
or
Yeah,
nobody.
yeah, it's the whole room, and the only way to make it person by person is by giving them co-host, and that will let them, override. So yeah, so there's just some thoughts, creativity, whether you tap into it. I'm going to turn camera's ability to turn them back on so we can come back on now. All right. So it's kind of a bummer. I'm doing this testing to a, custom stream on one of my other pages, and people on the stream aren't getting to see it. I apologize for that, you guys. But I've only got so much that I'm capturing. So my streaming is coming from, I have a machine logged in as streamer who, shows, and I capture that into vMix via NDI and then stream it out so that I can stream what I want to stream, right? Whether it's gallery or multi-spotlights and so forth there. So, but having this extra browser to a different site and so forth on the fly kind of took that away from the audience out there. So sorry about that. I will have a recording of it. Maybe I'll post it after the Zoom Test Kitchen is done, so that you can actually see the results of the stream we've been looking at that has been coming from Zoom. Anything else you want to do on that before I kill that Zoom stream, Marcus, or anybody else?
No, I think we pretty much covered everything.
Yeah, it's let's do one more thing. Just thought about this. So let me well, as a matter of fact, this will show it to the audience. Let me share my monitor that has that YouTube stream up, and while I have the share up inside of Zoom, you may, depending on what your single monitor or dual monitor mode is set to, you may see a side by side, right? A small picture of me speaking as active speaker, which is what I see on my streamer computer. But on the stream itself, I see the full screen share and a little picture in the top right corner. You guys seeing that? And that's the same thing. So, and that's all you're ever going to get there too. So same thing. There's really no changes you can make to that on the stream. That is the way share, like a PowerPoint or whatnot. It's shared out there. So if I were to replace, let's say it's active speaker mode right now. Let me, Marty or Marcus, go ahead and talk as well. And I'll just let the stream actively switch between active speaker mode.
All right. So, another option here is to, no, that wouldn't apply. I was thinking using OBS to configure your screen, but that takes a lot more equipment.
It does. Yeah. A lot of audio routing and all kinds of stuff, right? So I'm going to, while you're talking, Marty, I've now spotlighted you, and we'll see in the stream, we'll go from active speaker but now,
So
and
now,
maybe I'll,
I'm seeing an infinity image from Zoom.
yeah,
Yeah.
no, that's true because of the way I'm sharing and capturing back into and so forth. So that's a little screwy right now,
Mhm.
admittedly. If I were to, let me share a PowerPoint instead. Mhm. Okay. All right, so that should be a little bit better there.
Now, this was your AV Tech Summit
Yeah,
presentation?
yeah. And I'm just trying to get back to the stream real quick so I can see that real quickly. Yeah, okay. So it's still the picture-in-picture top right, but with a PowerPoint instead. We're in Zoom.
You're seeing YouTube way before I see YouTube.
Oh, is that right?
Yeah. I'm about another 10 or 15 seconds behind you.
Huh. But just the same, it's it's always the picture-in-picture. If you have a spotlight, a single spotlight, it'll lock in on that speaker. But if you have no spotlight or more than one spotlight, that picture-in-picture will become active speaker. So just to be aware that even though spotlight really doesn't spotlight via a Zoom stream, a single spotlight does in fact lock the speaker in, which is still a benefit, just not a big picture is all like a real spotlight would be.
Now, when you
Makes
have the
sense.
choice, when you have multiple cameras, local cameras, and you're also doing, playback. So you have the choice of screen sharing your playback and using your cameras through OBS. But you also have the option of playing back through OBS and not sharing, right? So OBS to the Zoom camera. Is there any difference in resolution?
There can be, but the sharing will naturally, if you don't check optimize, it'll naturally share at the monitor's resolution. So if I share my vMix desktop right now, if you bring up your Zoom statistics, if I pull that into the share, you'll see that my share is being sent out at 2K, right? 2560 by 1440 in the Zoom screen sharing statistics screen.
I'm seeing sending at 640. There it goes. Just jumped up to 1280 by 720.
That's what tab are you on? Overall audio, video, or screen share?
Video.
Yeah, go to screen share.
Oh, screen share. Right. You're screen sharing. 2560 by 1440.
Yeah.
Is what
So
I'm
you're getting the
receiving.
full resolution. So you get a really high resolution of my screen share. And and it it never used to do this. I don't know if I can't figure out whether it's an account thing, because guy who sponsors the Test Kitchen's Zoom accounts for 1080, whether it's his enterprise account that also is giving us a good frame rate even at 1440. Normally you take a serious hit on the frame rate while you get a high resolution. Like my video camera right now, its send is actually still 1080, which I'm really surprised because normally it kind of blend between the two. But if I stop this share and restart it, but this time I'm going to check the boxes to optimize the video clip for video and sound. Now I'm going to share it again. then, first thing is how does it look? Second is to bring up the statistics again. And now it's still a screen share, but you can see that when I told it to optimize it, it's got it taken down to 720.
Yeah.
It's really optimized now for bandwidth than clarity, and which gives them more room for improved frame rate potentially, right? But it's actually knocked it down from 2K to entry level HD, right, at 720, and then
Actually, right
the
now it
camera,
says 360
does it say 360 right now?
for screen
Yeah,
sharing.
so
on my
it's
end.
it's gonna vary. I mean, and my send says I'm sending it at 1080, but
Yeah, I'm
but
getting 1080.
yeah,
So
but
let me
everybody,
make it full screen.
yeah,
It didn't make a
yeah.
difference before with the skill. Okay, so now it just jumped up to 720. So when you had the still frame share, and I brought my window down really small, it
Oh yeah,
still had it at 1440. But with video optimized, my window size makes a difference in my
made a difference.
receiving
Yeah,
bandwidth. Yeah.
yeah. Good catch. Good
Although
catch.
now it's down to 360 again,
Yeah, I wonder if
and
you
I'm
have
full
anything
screen.
more contributing to that, bandwidth wise or whatnot as well. So if I stop that share
Mhm.
and then let's say instead let's take, let me add an NDI feed to vMix, and I'm going to capture my second monitor. Maybe, let's see. That's scan. This is Pro Capture. This feed, although it's going to get into an infinite loop. But anyways, that is the same thing as using, although it's a horrible image to use, but it's a live feed of my another output of my vMix. And so it's a virtual camera is the point. So statistically, if we went to statistics now, it's not a screen share, it's strictly video. It's delivering at 1080 at 30 frames. So the frame rate is up because it's the video camera, where the share was like 24 to 25 frames on my send side anyways. And so, it depending on the circumstances, it can definitely, make a difference. I could do,
I can now on my screen video, on my video receive, I can toggle between receiving 360 and 720 by stopping and starting the YouTube stream.
the stream that's going, that I'm sending out there right now.
Yeah, so I've got it open in a browser window, and if I stop or start the video, I can
I
toggle
wonder,
between.
I'd say open a browser window and run a speed test right now. See where your bandwidth is. It almost feels like it's kind of on the decision-making boundary for Zoom.
Well, let's see, I'll open up the speed test app. Waiting for it to load up. Go.
Moon is back.
My download is more than 700. Yeah, more than 700.
Huh. Very interesting.
And upload is 575. Now it could be load on my computer.
Yeah, that's possible. Yeah, CPUs as well. I did, I had a new experience for me for a customer not too long ago. And that was the need, knowing that we had a need in the meeting that was coming up to be able to open and create 100 breakout rooms.
Hmm.
And so let me, I want to find this matrix first and show it to you because I knew what I was up against. So this is what you can know going into it. It says these numbers apply to breakout rooms created during a meeting. Up to 200 participants can be pre-assigned. Number of breakout rooms, you can get 20 with up to 500 people. You can get 30 with up to 400 people, or 50 with up to 200 participants. And then you and it says the max capacities listed require a large meeting add-on. The other is, oh, excuse me, Zoom support can increase the maximum capacity of your account's breakout rooms to allow up to 100 breakout rooms with a maximum capacity of 1,000 per breakout room. So it's a lot of people,
Hmm.
100 breakout rooms at 1,000 a piece. It all requires, if you had this enabled, so if I, put in the request to enable the 100 breakout rooms, then you are instantly enforcing that requirement for anybody who ever attends your meetings again. So, we're on what, 5.7.4, I think right now. So, it's pretty easy to meet 5.2 or higher, but you just have to realize that is going to be a requirement from that date forward if you get that enabled. So you reach out. I called Zoom support, got on the phone, asked them. I was under the impression that I thought I had heard these numbers had loosened up a bit, but the person I spoke to said, no, I still have to put in a request. I said, that's fine. Go ahead and put in a request then on my account. And so they sent me an email. All I had to do was reply to it. And just a simple request, please increase my breakout room count to 100. And it was, and he just reminded me about the 5.2 client and higher, and I okayed that, and it was done. So pretty painless to make happen, but definitely, took, you would want to do that. I would say, I would say good guidance would be a minimum of 4 days before the event. An absolute minimum of 2, but you're really taking your chances on timeliness. And, 2 to 4 days out. I mean, in all essence, it was probably, I'll say, a 48-hour turnaround because, once the support person owns the ticket, they own the ticket, and you don't necessarily know what time zone they're in. And so the reply back and forth is the time for them to get it done is not a real big deal. And it worked flawless. We opened up. It was the first time I had opened up, 100 breakout rooms and distributed almost 600 people into them. And it was impressively fast. I mean, they were all gone within like, I don't know, 10 to 20 seconds at the most. They were all gone and could come back just about as quickly. So it was good. It worked really well. Anything else, guys? That's kind of what I've got. Anything else you want to run with, test with, find out, dig into? Happy to do it.
There was something that came up. I had a conversation with Zoom. So you have a series of meetings, and somebody was being disruptive at the end of the meeting. So the meeting ends, and it's a registered meeting. So you can go into your registrations and cancel their registration, but that doesn't prevent them from re-registering.
Uh-huh.
What I was hoping to be able to do was to bar them from the meeting offline. So to prevent them from coming back into a meeting. Apparently, you can't do that. You can only bar them or boot them from within a meeting. So you have to be in a meeting
Yeah,
for you to be able to boot them.
the instance, yeah, the offense that takes place has to happen in a meeting in order for you to remove them. And then what you're counting on, I'll bring this up, is under settings, is if we look for the word like rejoin, you're counting on them. This is allow removed participants to rejoin. I have it enabled. So if I boot somebody, they can rejoin. I just won't let them through the waiting room again. And it says allows previously removed participants and webinar panelists to rejoin. If you have that off, then when you, I'll drag my Zoom window over here. Then when you remove somebody, I can't remove a co-host, but if I were to remove Ord, then he won't be able to come back in. If I had it on, or if I had that off, which means I can't rejoin, then he would not be able to rejoin the meeting itself. So
Right.
you kind of have to be prepared behind the scenes first before the meeting starts, and then they have to offend you during the meeting for you to do that. What you're asking for, the only way Zoom can really cater to that is require registration that also requires approved registration, not automatically approved registration. And that lets you just simply not approve their registration. That's the only other way you could stop them. Let them register and just never hit approve.
Hmm.
And then they'll never get an invite, and they'll never get a real invite to the meeting because they don't get an actual invite to the meeting until you hit approve, and that's when it kicks out that invite.
Problem with that is that, and for some, and it happened here too, with this meeting. For some reason, you have to register. You try to go into a meeting, and you find that you're hit with a registration screen. You have to re-register. So at the beginning of the meeting, you could have any number of people registering, and if you had to approve them all at the beginning while your meeting is already starting, that would be a real burden.
Yeah. Oh no, I totally agree in that sense. Let me look at a meeting here real quick. Yeah. So I've got this is a customer meeting that I mean it's their meeting for their customers that I'm hosting and providing the account for, but they wanted registration turned on, and so I've got that. turned on, there's, 16, but it's on automatic approval. And,
Yep.
and so, it looks like, they've all been, approved already, but with that, if you were to, kill the automatic approval under the settings, then you can do that. But yeah, the closer you get to, the event, then webinars give you a little bit more flexibility, on being able to like close the registration and, things like that as you get closer to, or you have a cutoff date or whatnot. But, and if it's a meeting, you can convert. I don't know if you've ever converted a meeting to a webinar or webinar to a meeting. You can bounce those back and forth depending on that, so you don't lose your meeting ID for those that you've already approved, but now you want to make it a webinar, and even though you've approved 50 people, and then you convert it to a webinar, the link will still work for them, and so it's fairly flexible. But blacklisting somebody, they got to do something wrong first in a meeting. You can report too, turn on the reporting so that they end up in the Zoom Trust Committee that you can actually, follow up on and tell them, something was, seriously inappropriate and this and that. And, like if it happens to be something legal or
Well, what if it's
whatnot.
what if it's not somebody who is actually acting inappropriately, just somebody you want to deny entry to the meeting without the burden of having to manually approve everyone?
Yeah, that you'd have to. Yeah, I don't know of any other way.
I have to agree with Marty on that right there. The simple fact that we can't do any type of geo-tracking or have the ability to whitelist or blacklist any IP addresses for a meeting as a protocol kind of lacks from our end to be able to control that. So it's something you would do in a lot of other aspects to be able to block people from other social avenues. It's there. Its ability's always been there. But in Zoom itself, you can't really block anyone from coming into these meetings if they have a link.
You
Waiting
can
rooms, of course, but we get that. We're just referring to if somebody has the ability. That's why we're so concerned with making sure we can authenticate Zoom account users as those who attend meetings. We don't let people use the browser link to come in as well for that same reason, because you can come in randomly off of any email address through the browser into a Zoom meeting, not a webinar, but into a Zoom meeting. So you have to be careful letting people in from the browser rather than the client itself, because there's different security protocols in the browser.
Yeah.
So I always
and the closest they get on blocking is countries and regions.
Yes,
and
exactly.
you can scroll, but it's pretty broad. It's certainly not going to be an individual or an individual IP, but that's
And what if they said that actually that blocks entry from a country based on its geographical location only? So that could be any participant, and that limits you in the case that maybe you don't want the extreme end of things from that particular country to come in, but maybe one of your special guests is in India. So what do you do? I mean, that's a very difficult line for us to cross sometimes.
Mm-hmm.
Yep. See if I can find any other hints or guidance on this.
Well, that's primarily why we build our own event login and registration platforms rather than using anything like Eventbrite or, like I mentioned earlier today. It's one of our keys to having a fully secure web meeting, is having that ability to have assigned users who have Zoom accounts be the only people who can come in. That way we know exactly who those people are. We don't have to worry about anonymous names and anonymous emails, we have fully registered people within the Zoom environment, let's say, that could be tracked back if there were severe complications during a broadcast. You'd be able to follow up on that.
Has anybody built a good third-party registration system that works?
Colin's
And-
working on
and-
one right now.
Yeah.
I know someone else mentioned, I think it was Ken Jones today was talking about one that he's working on also. So I'm sure there's a lot of IT professionals out there that fully understand how to get fully registered Zoom users authenticated for a registration process. It's not that difficult. It's really just a matter of a few database, connections and having people sign in with an actual registered account. It's not that much to ask, but for some of the high C levels, it's sometimes difficult to get them to come in on their actual account. Sometimes they're on corporate accounts, sometimes they're on someone else's account because of their location at the time. They just jump into a Zoom meeting that somebody else fired up for them. So you really kind of have to request that ahead of time before the event even takes place to know that anyone coming to speak or be present at that event needs to be registered. It's really a decision of the client. PHI, in the end, was deciding maybe not, let's not worry about it. Let's just give the links out. But then they realized someone could share that link and just about anybody could come in after that. If it was, and this is a purchased link, you're talking a few $100s a ticket. So it's not a mild entry.
I'm looking at some stats on the back end on the enterprise account, and I mean, I definitely can see, on the dashboard, everybody's individual IP address and locations,
Exactly.
looking at, let's see, make sure I'm in the right. This is Marty is in Silver Spring.
Mhm.
How close is that?
Right on.
Right on. Okay.
Yeah. And you're
Says-
seeing this in a report, right?
Yeah, it's a dashboard. I can't share. It wouldn't be right to share it because there's a lot of
Yeah,
detail
that's
here.
okay.
But Zoom. I mean, it is a Zoom dashboard on. I believe it's on their business and enterprise accounts. And it says Kuhn is in Hugenveen. That true? I don't know if he's listening. You there, Kuhn? He's working. Leland says you're in Owasso.
Owasso's the sister city right next door to Corona.
Okay, so yeah, and then your IPs are there and so forth as well. Now, if I drill down, let me go here. Guess what? You're not be able to view their local IP again. Let me drill down into somebody and see if there's anything else. I think it's more just about kind of results and info, not necessarily in the future don't allow, right? I'm not seeing any of that.
So you really can't block any user that's been present in a meeting from the dashboard for future events, is what you just said, correct?
Yeah, I'm trying to scan this dashboard and see if
Interesting.
there's anything like that, and I'm not seeing anything
I have other
there.
webinar platforms that I run that I'm pretty sure I can block users that I have pushed out of webinars previously to ever be able to come into my webinar platform.
Yeah, but how strong is that word ever? Like
They can just change
you're
email.
blocking them by what? I mean, households
30
don't
seconds.
commonly have, they don't commonly have like fixed IPs forever, and they can always, create another account, and I mean, most of our identifying pieces of who we are, be it username or email or whatnot, can all be recreated in moments as well. So the forever's tough to achieve. But I can see, like with Marty on this dashboard, I can even see your CPU usage. Like,
Hmm.
like when you were, you have definitely had times so at 1620, which is 420, 9 minutes ago, your CPU was at 95%. So you got something cranking. And as a matter of fact, just 1626, just 4 minutes ago, you were at 85%. So there, yeah, your CPU is, you were right. You guessed, yeah, it might be my computer, and you're right. Your CPU is getting a bit hammered by something.
Yeah, I've got a lot open here.
Gotcha.
What do you see for a mobile device then, Jeff? I'm on a Pixel right now.
Yeah, I think I drilled into you, and I don't think I get data on that. Yeah, it says it says, I mean, I can see who is connected via Wi-Fi or wired. And I can see, Leland, you're on Wi-Fi. If I drill down, I don't think, yeah, it doesn't provide me any
Probably because I'm
audio,
running cellular data right now. Yeah.
video. Yeah, it doesn't pass any of that on. So pretty handy, but yeah, it doesn't look like there's a way to kind of lock you down. It's not, at least this area that I'm looking at is not meant for that.
All right, well, gentlemen, I'm gonna have to bail for the afternoon. I appreciate everything you're doing here, Jeff. And we'll talk to you soon.
Yeah, pleasure. I'll as soon as I have a date for the new date for the events, Zoom events platform and visitors and so forth, I'll let everybody know, and we'll plan on circling back next week.
So let's get together this weekend on the PHI event so we can discuss the last two tech meetings we had real quick, and then
Sounds good. This weekend will be good. My wife works on the weekends, so my time is more available on Saturday, Sundays than during the week even. So yeah, let's connect. All right, everybody. Hey, appreciate you coming out, spending time, helping me always learn something new as well. That's what I dig about it the most. So
thanks for doing this every week.
Yeah, absolute pleasure.
Thank you,
We'll
Jeff.
wrap it up with a little bit of music and slides for the stream in the archives, but we'll see everybody maybe next Thursday on the Zoom OSC Test Kitchen, or next Friday here at the Zoom Test Kitchen. So we'll talk later.